As you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be ripping off a style from iDubbbz. In this video, we're going to be addressing certain things about a particular content creator. Now, this creator was brought to my attention by a patron about 2 years ago, maybe less, doesn't matter. Now, this particular patron binge watches, hate watches this creator, and she does it, I think, because it keeps her honest. And after spending a couple of days watching this person's channel, I could certainly see why she hate watches. Now, to be clear, and this is to you, Amberlynn Reed, me critiquing your content, me critiquing you as a person because of what you put in your videos on your Twitter and on your YouNow, does not make me a hater. It makes me somebody with principles that think some of the lies you've been passing off need to be called out.
I just want to become a better person now.
Several days later.
Yesterday I weighed in at 503.2, and today I weighed in at 499.6.
Now, you may not like it that it's been done by some snooty Brit, a Cthulhu-kin no less, but I haven't seen many videos done on you. Maybe some people just enjoy watching you stuff your face. Those mukbangs? Is that what they're called?
Because I have to eat to survive.
Why the fuck you lying?
Yes. I think Repsion does it better with cereal, but to each their own. In any case, we're going to be covering 4 topics around the channel of Amberlynn Reed. They include dieting, no, not fat shaming, although we'll get to that later. Irony appears to be lost on her. Relationships.
Destiny fucked me up. Like, everything I did for her. She is the best girlfriend I ever had. And I fucked it up.
Animal care and mental health. Because there are lies in all of those, and I firmly believe that each and every one of them needs to be addressed. So let's start with dieting.
There she blows!
So to start, we should first learn a little about Amberlynn Reed. She started in November 2013, where she chronicled her weight loss journey and subsequent quitting because she hurt herself doing squats incorrectly.
Okay, so I can tell you one thing. When I do these squats now, the front of my thighs hurt bad.
That is because you are not doing them correctly. On the screen is how you should be doing them. While we don't get to see you do them, I can be almost certain you are not doing them correctly. More so because of the following.
I had a bulged disc, and he said the two were very similar in the way of symptoms, and that he was going to prescribe me medicine. If the medicine helped, then that's exactly what it was. So, knowing me, I don't take prescription medication at all. I never have, besides an what is it called? Antibiotic, that's what it's called, sorry. Because of my past and my parents, I am afraid to take prescription drugs. But I knew I had to, so I took it, and little did I know that every day I started feeling better and better. So this is a completely different Amy's TV dinner that I talked about before. This one has vegetables, rice, dal, I have no idea. But it's pretty much just organic vegetables and rice, and OMG.
He leads the majority of our audience to believe that she is utterly incapable of losing weight for any prolonged period of time. This is further proven by her remarkably weak excuses, which usually center around her knowing she did wrong, but her still binging 4 times in a day or a week anyway.
Welcome to our 8 weigh-ins in one video. I'm doing this because I had a really bad week.
Yeah, me too.
I binged this last week probably 4 times. I overate every single day. And I know exactly why I did it. I have no excuses.
Another set of excuses, coupled with the lies that Amberlynn likes to feed our audience, circle around her supposed fear of doctors, even though she has been to see them or the ER doctors essentially. on numerous occasions in the last 5 years for various health issues, more recently because of her fears of the beatus, all the while showing her emails claiming that she is healthy. She talks about her skin pigmentation and fobs it off as a condition and not the more likely jaundice, which would be a side effect of those gallstones you talked about in a recent video.
I suffer from gallstones, and I was having really bad sharp cramps and just horrible sharp pains in my upper abdomen area. I was worried that my gallbladder was infected, which is actually something you really need to get taken care of if that's the case.
Gallstones, for those that don't know, are formed by cholesterol and bile and are prevalent in obese people and women. These usually don't bother most people, but when they do, there is realistically only one option, not the herbal remedies. An option which you will never take, and your diet does not help you in any way. In fact, it would exacerbate the symptoms. Now, to quickly address the comment she makes about taking offense to being accused of having the beatus because it runs in the family.
Amberlynn has the beatus. It's very offensive because it runs in my family.
Diabetes is an inherited condition. This is you at 360 pounds, and this is you now. I know low-income folk that look better than you and they are in their 60s. That said, you don't help yourself by doing silly little things like going to bed with your makeup on.
And I did sleep on my makeup, so I do apologize for that.
You've been talking about stopping that for years, but I see like your dieting you can't seem to shake this habit, which brings us handily onto a piece of poetry that you wrote in 2015. Now, before anyone accuses me or jumps on me for shaming her, I am not shaming Amberlynn for this poetry at all. This particular piece is quite relevant to what I say and what she has said. This was written, by the way, in 2015 and should raise alarm bells. I'd leave. If I was dating myself, I'd leave. I would hate the constant low self-esteem. I would hate the lack of romance because she hates herself naked, so why wouldn't anyone else? I'd hate the laziness, shower schedule, constant favors and no adventures. I would hate the pity parties because of her past broken hearts and shattered dreams. I'd hate her guard she puts up because of neglectful parents. I'd hate her frequent crying spells and major attitude. I'd hate her smell, her greasy hair, her broken out skin and nagging voice. I'd hate her 2-day-old makeup, yoga pants and her taste in music. I'd hate how she appreciates so much, but never says it. I'd hate her need for confirmation 24/7. I would hate the way she walks. I would hate her OCD tendencies that drive her mad. I would hate her mess. I would hate her eating disorder, her depression, and mood swings that hit me like a high-speed truck. I'd hate her because she wouldn't believe that she was so much more than that. Yes, that piece really spoke to me. Now, Amber likes to think of herself as a bit of a chef, which she really isn't. So let's have a little look at some of her renowned dishes. Let's start with this mukbang where she eats 15 taquitos and an Amy's broccoli mac and cheese. The serving, FYI, for taquitos is 3. Just saying, that's not good. How's that diet holding out? Oh, that's right. It was only 2 days before this particular mukbang that you were doing a weigh-in only to then put out a vlog the next day, with you eating pasta and a massive pile of nachos. You're truly committed to this whole not dieting thing. You've got that part knuckled down at least. Let's quickly address another one of those mukbangs you did, which involved chicken and vegetables, only to the next day talk about weight loss. Now this is a trend within your content, where you have done a mukbang, and the next day done a video indicating your regret for the colossal mistake you made the day before. Oh, and as an interesting side, there is an actual channel that tries to recreate some of her masterpieces. Not many of them end well.
Looks like we got another pal on there, guys. Wow, the more the merrier, am I right? Okay, let's try again. Oh no. I really taste the artichoke hearts. Okay. Guys, I can't swallow this. No.
But yeah, I should probably go clean up my throw up and I'll tell you about the aftermath.
Okay. It's been a while, and I feel kind of sad. Like, really, I'm just kind of curled up in a ball, laying down, staring at the ceiling, just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, there's other things she should be worrying about besides little me. But yeah, that wasn't meant to come across as mean. It's just like, I'm irrelevant. Anyways, thank you for watching.
Just saying. Oh, and Grandma's recipe is basically what poor people do in a pinch your grandmother taught you badly. And for someone that claimed to hate bacon, butter, and be allergic to egg, this meal is a mass contradiction. Now, before we get to the conclusion of this segment, let's talk about your lies. See, you're a prolific liar. So when you put out a video admitting it, and then claim it is a defense mechanism to protect yourself, it shows just how deluded you are. It makes it hard to believe anything you say, especially in your Q&As, and also those videos where you claim to be using screenshots of an official email saying that you are fine. Oh, and as a final thing on your lies, for now, the binge eating disorder you claim you were diagnosed with when you were 16, yeah, that wasn't a recognized condition until 2013, and stop saying you don't get heartburn, you say it in a video enough times. Now, to conclude this segment, there are two more things we need to talk about. Firstly, you unironically did this on Snapchat not so long ago. The people that go on that show put in the time and effort to do the one thing you are utterly incapable of doing, which involves hard work and a mental strength you do not possess. This is either because of those around you enabling you, or you being too bloody minded to the point where you use them and break them to essentially serve you, all of which is supported by your own videos. Okay, hashtag not all. You are prone to deleting them from time to time. To add to that, when you claim to be making 10 grand a month and someone suggests you get the surgery, for you to then decline and then simultaneously mock those that get it for free after they've put in the effort to prove they are willing to lose the weight, which is something you would have to do in the first place anyway, is astonishing.
I watch a lot of 600-pound life, and sometimes these people will gain so much weight in a month. Like, I saw someone gain like 80 pounds in a month before, and I'm like, how?
And second, you go about dieting all wrong. I personally think dieting is a fail from the offset. You should not regard it as a target to get down to, but a change in lifestyle. Adopting a mentality where everything is different and all requires work might be better suited to somebody so mentally weak. Being hungry is a side effect to being your size, but tricking your mind with hunger busters or through mental exercises that occupy your head, or doing additional workouts, can be of greater benefit to you. That said, when people say the majority of those that go on diets fail, yeah, they have you as a prime example of somebody who can't seem to get it right. Now that I've concluded this segment, and I could have gone on for another 10 minutes, I promise you that. Let's move on to relationships, because damn, you have quite the mess of a life. So for this segment, I could quite easily talk about your previous relationships. You know, those individual women you've dated, lived with, fallen out with, still lived with, abused essentially, used, to quite an extent. But instead I want to talk about an ex, one in particular that you did something truly heinous, so much so that you deleted the video after they made a video responding to your accusations. Luckily I have a copy of the video that you deleted, so let's have a little listen to some of your accusations.
She was carrying her clothes, I'm pretty sure I remember, and I was like carrying mine. And then I want to say this happened, it's been like 6-7 years, so memories are kind of like fading here and there. But I do remember us being on the sidewalk, and I remember her dropping what was in her hands, and she took me by the throat and she started yelling at me. I was like, what? And I think at the time, what shocked me the most was the fact that she was doing it in such a public place. Like, there was nobody around that I remember, and like I was like crying. Like, she literally was having me by the throat, just like screaming at me. she really thought I was attractive. She really was sexually attracted to me, and she always wanted to like have sex. Even though I wasn't. And just little things like that. And it made her fucking pissed. When you say no to someone, whether you've been with them for like a month or whether you've been with them for like 6 years, if you say no to a sexual act, your partner should accept that. That is where I firmly stand. But she didn't. And she would literally sit there and beg me. At first it was like cute little begs, like, oh, come on, baby, whatever. But then as time gradually went on, it became, you're gonna fucking touch me whether you like it or not. And I was like, you can't force me. And little did I know she can. That's when she started punching me a lot. She would aim for my belly. I don't think she ever actually hit me in the face. Her favorite spot was my stomach. She would punch me really hard in my stomach. She'd punch me like around right here a lot. She would punch me on my arms. And she would continuously do it until I agreed to make love to her or have sex, whatever you want to consider it. So not only was I being physically abused, but I was pretty much being like raped. That is what I consider it, because I continuously would say no to her.
So throughout the video she makes a lot of very outlandish accusations and goes into tremendous detail about this, but she has since deleted it. That's because, not long after, the fiancé of the person you claimed beat you and raped you made a response video, and I'm now going to play a few clips from that, refuting your arguments. And to be clear, this, if anything, further cements the belief that you are a prolific liar.
My fiancé told me that she's calling me an abuser and a rapist. That got my blood boiling. Now, the time we were dating, when we started dating, I should say, I was 15 years old. 15. Now, the thing what she said with the laundry, that's a big false. Big false. Want to know how I know that? Because me and my mom would do her laundry. Me and my mom would go do laundry. She wasn't getting up to do laundry. She maybe did it a couple of times, a handful of times, probably counting on my one hand. She didn't do it all the time, at all. Now, the places she said about being hit, those were on me. Those were the exact places she hit me. I was the one being abused. And I will say this, I may have laid a hand on her a few times. That was in self-defense. I didn't do it, and I damn well did not rape her. I did not rape her. Period. One time, when my mom and Dave were out, I don't know why we argued, but I was put on the bed. She wailed on me. Beat me real bad. I remember this clear as day. Our bed was in the living room. Next to the bed was a dresser. In front of the dresser was a table. Between the table and the bed was her, over me, wailing on me. Did I fight back? Nope, not that time. Why? Because she kept calling me an abuser. So I just took it. I took it.
Now, before we finish on this segment, I want to make it quite clear. You, the audience, should decide whether or not Amber is guilty or the ex-partner. The information is there. The video she deleted is still available, and the response video made to the deleted video is still public and on Casey's channel. I will of course link both in the description for you, but I will say, having spent enough time watching the accusations and the response, there is something almost sociopathic about how Amber Lynn delivers her accusations. If any of these were true, you would go to the police. This isn't the BBC. You don't sweep it under the rug for many, many years and wait for an opportunity to absolutely shit on someone, which this seems to come across as. You drag someone who's living a happy, normal life into your life, which, if anything, just gave you more attention. Now, I could, much like the dieting, talk for many, many, many more minutes about your other relationships, with Destiny especially, but I wanted to focus on this one because I believe this one and what you have done truly exemplifies just how underhanded, how disgraceful and abusive you are in its truest form.
This is really hard. I'm not a liar. The reason why we moved to Kentucky, I said it's because Destiny wanted to be there for her mom. I said we wanted to take care of her. I think I might have said that in a vlog. And I'm just getting an abundance amount of questions about where I'm moving. People are guessing where I'm moving, what I'm doing with my life. People are even spreading rumors that are just crazy about where I'm moving and what I'm doing. And Destiny and I have not talked about it with you guys because there was a lot of things that we had to fix and figure out. And there was a lot of things that we questioned whether we should tell YouTube certain things, because this is pretty serious. And I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, short form, where we're moving, what's happening. And I'm not gonna go into like complete details because it's like Destiny's not ready for that, because this is mainly like her thing. That just brace yourself. Ever since Destiny was a little girl, she lived in Kentucky for a little bit with her mom, but it was not long, just like a couple years. And she's lived in Florida her whole life with her dad, and she missed out a lot with her mom. And Destiny, when she turned 18, she was like, she had certain plans, but in the back of her mind, she's like, oh, what if I move to Kentucky? I want to experience something different. I want to be with my mom and stuff like that. And so it's something she thought about a lot. I'm not a liar, but it's not the truth. We were just tired of Florida, honestly. I mean, mainly Destiny was, how do I word this without like saying too much, but you know, you get my drift. Her mainly, she just felt kind of like it was time to move on from Florida. You know, some things were happening that she just wasn't happy about, and she wanted a new beginning. I'm not a liar.
So now, I want to move on to a slightly smaller topic, but a segment worth talking about nonetheless, and that is mental health, before we finish up talking about those delightful animals you neglect.
There she blows!
For this segment, I thought I'd simply start by saying the one thing that she does not have: deadness. That's right, the only condition she doesn't have is deadness yet. Because over the course of 5 years she has indicated what she does have, what she has Googled, then decided that she does not have or does have according to what Google has told her because she won't go to a doctor. And then there of course is the medication that she is on, that she has switched over repeatedly because of her inability to adhere to a regimen. It's a tad callous, I know, but to list all the things she does have and openly admits to having, coupled with the fact that she lies Google searches and claims to have, is actually quite difficult to tell what she does and does not have. Physically, you can tell what she has, and what she will inevitably get in the future. And with such a dark past, certainly one that she has mentioned on multiple occasions, couple that with the fact that she is quite prone to lying, it is quite difficult to tell whether or not she has had it as bad as she has said she has, and whether or not there is any truth to what she is doing. Bear in mind, she did make a video quite clearly stating things that she lied about, all while saying, I don't lie. Now I know that may make this segment seem short, but I do want to touch upon a couple of things about delusions and lying to oneself, because she does this a lot.
Like, I'm literally reaching, like, I don't know how else to show you. Like, awkward moment. And I'm having looks humongous on this tiny plate, 2 chicken egg rolls. Like I said, I am not vegan. I am just trying to make better choices. I know to some of you this is not healthy, whatever.
But she also, as far as mental health goes, manipulates others including ex-girlfriends and current girlfriend, although her current girlfriend is as much of an enabler as she is simple. And I don't mean to be rude when I say simple, but when you're reading from grade 3 level books, someone has to question the maturity and mentality of the person you're dating. Maybe that's a personal taste. I'm not going to judge that, though. I am, however, going to question the kind of person that will openly mock their partner in a YouTube video or lie in front of them or make them feel small for views. The awkwardness in the video, by the way, that I'm referencing is astonishing. My skin actually cringed on its own. Oh, and to keep the lying theme going for a second, you used to have an Ask FM account. I did too, and I got terminated because I asked a question. You used to answer questions as well, although I'm inclined to believe some of them were lies. For example, what are some healthy habits you have? And you replied, exercising, drinking water, fruits and vegetables. One of those is a definite lie. Successfully managing 2 jumps with a skipping rope does not count as exercise. You were also asked, how many 300 to 400 pound people do you see in pictures from back in early days? None. People have progressively gotten larger over the past 100 years. Fast food is one of the main reasons people have grown so overweight. To which you replied, I don't even like fast food. I don't know how to respond to that. But you do lie to yourself a lot. And I think you convince yourself to lie so much to yourself to make yourself feel better, which is a terrible thing to do. Let's not forget here, you also at one point tried to rationalize your own weight, pointing out that if you didn't put in the effort and wasn't trying as hard as she had been, you'd be well over 600 pounds. You don't make it very easy for me to find the best bits about you when so much of you is pure crazy. And this is going to be another little talking point. A lot of people, possibly some new people, hello, will come to this channel, see this video and watch, and be like, oh Megan, but she did this, and honestly there's 800 pages of you on kiwi farms. Why didn't you cover the majority of that? And I have to reply with, because I have to pick the best points to make my point. And I'm going to save my point until after I've talked about your pets, because I think I'm quite keen on animal welfare. I'm not so keen on what you've done to your pets. But I'm sure, much like other issues you've had, including your relationships and your failed attempts at dieting, you have lied to yourself repeatedly to rationalize it, or made excuses or pretended to care, all of which is proven in the very videos that have been archived long after you deleted them. Now, to finish up on this segment on your mental health, there are some conditions you do have that you openly discuss, and medication included, along with at one point switching from one antidepressant to another within the space of a week. Now, I don't know what reason you gave because I can't find the video where you talked about it, but I can't see a reason why any doctor, even though you refuse to go see doctors, which is a lie, dentist perhaps, but only because you think you won't get cavities past the age of 17. That, by the way, is not a joke. But I can't believe a single doctor would reason that you would need to change antidepressant from one to another within a week for some bogus reason of the former not working. As we all know, medication takes time to take effect. Not everyone is instantly happy with their happy pills, even though antidepressants are not happy pills. Hell, if it wasn't working, they could have put you on a beta blocker, rhino dosage. In any case, one of the reasons I didn't want to touch too much on mental health is because I genuinely can't tell where you're telling the truth and where you're lying. Because your lies, and the fact you have told so many, makes it nigh on impossible for someone like me to work out, after trawling through, oh my life, for 4 days by the way, constantly trawling through your videos and you now streams on the CXNT channel, go subscribe. I cannot tell when you're telling the truth or when you're not. And the fact that people have debunked you so easily in the past, including that ex-girlfriend that you accused of raping you, makes it very hard for anyone to want to believe you. You are crying wolf, but time is against you now. Certain conditions you don't believe you have now are going to start coming up, and they're going to take over soon. Nobody has that yellower skin without it being jaundice related, and you can try and fob it off as a skin pigmentation from a Google search, but the only people that can actually diagnose you are doctors, not Google, yet. I'm sure in the future they'll take GPs out of the equation. With this all said and done, I would like to now move on to the final segment, which is animals. More importantly, the cats you're allergic to, and that lovely little chihuahua with those ridiculously curled nails that you still haven't clipped.
There she blows.
So over the years, Amber Lynn Reid has had many pets, claiming to have well over 20 cats at one time. But the two I want to focus on are her chihuahua, Twinkie, and an animal called Rarity. So let's start with Rarity, the lovely adorable cat you had. You know, the cat you never looked after and was supposed to have gotten spayed but didn't. Yeah, those messages were leaked. This does not make you look good. To complement these messages, there is a short video from the CXNT channel. It's about 40 seconds long. I'm going to play it now because it is relevant to the subject of Rarity and just how inept Amber Lynn is. The messages you've already seen, yeah, this barely scratches the surface, and we haven't even got to Twinkie yet. I know some of you are going to recognize that music from my outro, but honestly, it was a silent video. I had to play something there. It wasn't like I could go, ignore Discord alerts, for 40 odd seconds.
I would leave my poor babies home alone without me. And what I mean by that is my dog and my cats were home without me for like 12 hours, sometimes even more than that. People actually abusing their dogs, physically punching them and hurting them. I would never.
This one was not an easy child. Nobody. Oh, that's the authorities. Let go of him. Say bye, Chaplain.
Ooh, this doesn't make either you or your ex look that good, does it? BT Dub, don't stretch a kitten's arms out like that. That is quite poor taste. The smacking also is quite hard. Even if the dog was trying to nip at the kitten, that was far too hard. If you're struggling, by the way, might I recommend a dog training school? They do exist. Or Google it. I mean, you Google your own diagnoses. Surely you've Googled a suitable way to look after animals without having to resort to smacking them. I say this as somebody who's not only raised on a farm and surrounded by dogs, 5 by the way, but I don't have to smack a single one of them to make them understand that I'm the alpha and that what is right they will do, what is wrong they will be told off for. Punished, deprived of treats. Very basic thing, by the way. To get a dog not to do something like that, you can simply teach them by using treats as a way of making them understand they are rewarded for good things. A concept a dog can in fact grasp. Let's continue with this video, which was made by someone else, and I will again link it in the description. It's quite well done.
That's what's important. They're in a healthy environment, a lovely place. That's what's important.
White trash, get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy. White trash, get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy. White trash, get down on your knees.
And again, they're love. They're showered with love.
White trash, get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy.
My dog is not abused in any way or form.
Is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Based on what you have all seen so far in this particular segment on animal care, you can certainly understand my position when I say that the evidence is not only damning but supported by the fact that you cannot seem to look after yourself, let alone animals. A hypothesis that has been proven throughout this entire video. Now to quickly address Twinkie, because there is a picture I put at the start of the video of a dog with some toenails that were curling in. If you took your dog for a walk along a regular pavement every day, your dog's nails would never need cutting because they would wear on the concrete. But you haven't even done them yourself. You won't do them, which makes it very uncomfortable for your dog to walk. I know this. Hell, humans know this because we have similar conditions when our toenails curl at the edges. It is why we look after our feet, which I don't think you can reach. I know your razor could just about reach your legs, but I don't believe you actually shave your legs. I believe someone else does it for you. You've admitted to having someone shower you from time to time anyway, so it isn't hard to believe that somebody else does other things for you. Couple that with your incredible laziness, although, I will say, to be as big as you would need to maintain a certain diet. The word diet there has been perverted. You would have to be taking in 4,000 calories a day to maintain your frame, which is tremendous commitment. I know in your videos you like to show off sometimes when you're having your little diet moments for a day or two, eating less. So in fact, if you were able to maintain that, you would drop a couple pounds a week, easily, just from reducing your intake. For someone of my height and someone of my size, 2,000 calories is what I should be eating a day. I eat 1,200. Not because I can't afford more, but because I like to be the size I am, and because I don't need to eat more. You, though, have committed to eating more, which means, and again proves, that you are building your channel on a lie, and I think you get off from the self-destruction. But again, I've deviated from the topic of this segment because you are so infuriating. So let's play a little clip from a video with Twinkie in it. I hope this highlights my opinions on you well enough. Your dog doesn't love that swing, your dog looks submissive and broken, the nails are curled in because they haven't been trimmed, you're not looking after your dog, you're not feeding your dog right, you're not caring for them or giving them the environment they deserve. You are a neglectful, horrible person, and you should have all your animals taken away from you by animal services, or at least be decent enough to give them to a loving home, and not the type of loving home you think you give them where you neglect them for days at a time. So in summary, because I obviously had a point, I wanted to showcase just how manipulative someone can be without trying to point out that I'm not overly fond of them as a person. I don't care for Amberlynn Reid as a person. I do care though when she's passing off bad messages, when she tries to play victim, when she tries to make excuses for her mistakes, when she will lie willingly without breaking so much as a sweat to do it. She'll sit idly in a car and break a sweat, doing nothing. But telling you a lie, she will not. And she has been caught out by virtually every single person on the internet that I did not know existed until I started working on the relationship segment of this video. It is quite disheartening to know that there are so many different types of manipulative people out there. Somebody who is truly committed to only one type of diet, and it isn't the one where her weight becomes less of an issue. There's no point at this stage denying that your weight is an issue, as you yourself have said it multiple times. Couple that with the occasional trips to the shop that you are clearly forced to do to get out and be mobile, although I have seen the videos of you on mobility scooters, so I'm not convinced you're walking around for anywhere near as much as you might lead everyone around you to believe. By around you in this instance, I mean your viewers, quite a large number of whom want you to succeed. They want you to do well, but you are deceiving them as well. And that's another disheartening thing about you. You're not committed. You start and break because you're fickle, and you'll fob it off down to the damage from your past. Whether any of that is true or not, though, I can't tell. And that's what makes this so tragic, is that you have lied so many times that nothing you say anymore can be taken as anything other than bullshit. And I'm not a hater. I'm just some dickhead with a microphone that for 2 years has listened to a patron watch you self-destruct, while they watch you so that they themselves do not end up like you, which they haven't. If this video is somewhat well received, and enough people ask for it, I might make a second video going into greater detail on the relationship aspect, because there is so much crazy there. The dieting, I know for a fact I barely scratched the surface, but I wanted to showcase it so you could understand just how terrible a person Amberlynn Reed is. And I'm not trying to incite hate, I am stating fact using your videos as evidence for this. So that's all aside, I hope everyone has a lovely day. Thank you all for listening and also being patient, because I had wanted to put this out yesterday, but this took far too long to script, research, and edit. I hope it was worth it. Not the fat people. Ooh, sandwiches. Gimme. Okay, so after receiving over 3,000 new subs, over 1,000 comments, the majority of which were very positive, and requested I do a second part focusing on the relationships and the animal abuse, here we are. Yay. So as you all know, we're going to be doing a part 2 to Amberlynn Reed. This will be the final part. I don't intend to make a third, so I want to make sure I cover all the relevant points with regards to her relationships, the abuse within them, obviously the lies, there are quite a number of them, but also the way she treats her animals. Before we do that, I want to address a few comments I received. Firstly, to those who read far too much into the fact that I was just trying to be cute by calling my video a total rip-off of Content Cop and then telling me it was more like Colossal and a channel review, thank you. To those that said my voice was sexy, thank you. How you doing? And finally, to those that abuse the fact that I have an avatar and therefore don't go on camera and don't have people make videos reviewing my channel, I have had a video done reviewing my channel. It was done by Kevin Logan. If you are interested in watching that, in him beautifully, articulately destroying me with sweet, sweet ponage.
Omegon, Omegon, Omgon,
then please feel free to go to his channel. It is linked below. Now, to start this particular part 2, I do want to cover one aspect of weight loss because it was quite funny. Because after doing my video, I noticed she put up a new video indicating she was going on a Weight Watchers diet and swimming.
Is it cold? No, it's actually not. Really? Really. It's good. Oh, it's warmer than last time. Yeah, don't go there with that stuff on. Put it under a towel. Put it under a towel. In the pocket over there. Okay, it's water. Okay. Oh! Look at her! She's like, sure.
I saw the memes about her falling in the water. That was quite funny. But the part I want to focus on first is the part where 2 days later she indicated she'd lost 15 pounds, and then 2 days after that put up a video for a chickpea curry and rice mukbang, where she indicated both servings were 2 servings.
So this is like, I'm still doing Weight Watchers, obviously, still on track. See, that's what I like about it, because you're able to eat things like this, but just calculate it in points, so. And this is about, 2 servings of jasmine rice is 10 points. Half of this was 4, but when you do 2 servings, it comes out to 7 because they always round up and round down.
She then proceeded in a video later to show how it was 2 servings.
Okay, guys, so I am about to have a snack. Okay, I'm just making sure this is recording. I'm about to have a snack. So I'm gonna let everyone know that I am showing you guys the calories for everything, as you guys can see. I also wanted to talk about this jasmine rice. I've been getting a lot of tweets of people saying I ate way more than 2 servings of jasmine rice, which is not true. So this is the container that I ate out of when I did my Indian mukbang, and this is the new one that I bought that I haven't opened yet. So I want to show you guys the instructions that I follow. So right here, it shows if you want to make 2 servings, this is what you need. If you want to make 4 servings, this is what you need, etc., etc. So I made 4 servings. I ate half the day before, and I ate half with you guys. So I had 2 servings. I know a lot of people don't believe that.
I want to clarify now. You indicated in the video where you showed it was 2 servings that you'd made 4 servings and saved some for later. You are lying. In those bowls were 4 servings. Do not lie to yourself or your audience. I think enough of them have called you out on it, even the one that said your farts would start World War III. Now let's dive into the relationship stuff, because some of this intersects with animal abuse, and I think it right we properly give it time. So to start this segment, we're going to go into the timeline of Amberlynn Reid's relationships. This will then allow us to go through each relationship in turn, so we can best understand how the dynamic has worked, certain similarities with each relationship, and how they have essentially enabled her to continue down the path to bed-bound glory. Air quotes around glory. So first we have Casey, the one we covered in the last video.
Another thing, she says that she made friends with Crystal. She wasn't looking for anything. Let me clear up some things for you between that time frame. Before Crystal, there was another girl. Well, she was with me. Her name was Paige or something. I know it was a 4-letter name. That Paige girl, I'm just gonna call her Paige because that's the name I remember. That Paige girl sent her money, sent her a Walmart gift card. She sent her things. Yeah, while she was with me.
Who is now FTM. Amberlynn Reid met her online, arranged to meet her in person, then met Casey and indicated that she'd been kicked out of her home and had nowhere to go. So Casey and her mother, her at the time, took Amberlynn Reid in. As that relationship started to fall apart, Amberlynn befriended a person called Crystal and then moved to Virginia to be with Crystal. As we all know, with the Casey relationship, Amberlynn Reid made a video indicating she was sexually assaulted by the then 14-year-old Casey. It is quite a slanderous thing to do, and unsurprisingly, Casey put out a video statement indicating, yeah, no. As Amberlynn Reid deleted the video from her channel, I can only assume it was because she knew she was, well, going to go to court if that video stayed up any longer. As time went by with Crystal, that relationship too soured, and Amberlynn Reid hooked up with a person called Destiny, who she had also met online. As their relationship soured, yeah, I know this happens quite a lot, she met Becky, and guess how they met? That's right, online. And then Amberlynn Reid moved in with her, and they moved to Kentucky. I believe it was Virginia, Florida, Kentucky. Didn't you already live in Florida with Casey? Honestly, I'm getting confused. I'm just going to say moved to another part of America. Now that we have this, we have a chance to address each relationship in turn, but the first thing we're going to note is how I had initially assumed all four looked similar. Crystal almost bucked that trend until I saw this picture and I realised, yeah, no, they are all very tomboyish in appearance. Skater boy almost for the latter too. It's quite weird. Another trend with all four of these people was a mental immaturity, very much dependent and submissive to Amberlynn Reid. This is further cemented by the fact that, for example, Destiny and Becky have both increased vastly in weight, are quiet, timid by nature, uncomfortable around the camera and Amberlynn as a whole really, and let her basically dictate terms. This has been proven multiple times in her own content, where she has insulted them, where there are compilation videos of this.
I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Don't write on me. Did.
Are you actually gonna wear that?
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, she says. I still think I'm too fat. Baby, you just gotta lose a little bit of weight. So you're kind of blurry. You are. You're blind. If I did have it, I would definitely be wearing me some bikinis. I was just remembering the time I actually did go to the beach and I was in my emo kid stage, and so I was too good to wear bathing suits and stuff, so I wore pants, black t-shirt. That is literally me! I wore my pink and black sketches. Oh my god, that's literally me. Like, literally me. That's what I do now. And now, if I literally eating shit, I'm gonna go with that one. Yay! I finally have a card! Good job! What is your face? Oh, by the way, hi Eric's vlog. Probably dye hair first. That'd be the first thing. I particularly like my gray hair, so. Oh. Wait, this is what Becky really looks like. Wait, it's zooming on me. Wait.
Why don't you edit? I'm like, boo, I do. Like, I edit my videos.
Demeaned them, and they just take it. Now, it is quite weird that since I started recording this, Amberlynn put out a video of her talking to Destiny over the phone, and it was quite weird. FaceTiming, they were so comfortable talking to each other, because this is something you never saw in any vlog. Now, of course, her response could be, I don't put out my entire life in my vlogs, but you do seem to save the best bit for us, which is why those compilation videos exist. We know there's an awkwardness. You could say there isn't, but unfortunately for you, Eric has got a number of things on his vlogs where you have been remarkably uncomfortable with each other in his videos. You could say that's because he's recording you and you don't want him to, but it's there nonetheless. And before I forget, because this is a key detail, where all these relationships stemmed while still in relationships with previous people. In the case of Crystal, and thank you to my lovely patron for pointing this out, Destiny came all the way from Florida to West Virginia to meet Amberlynn and then took her home with her, having never gone on a date with her or anything. These relationships are created online, having no real interaction. They're built on essentially a very glorified friendship stroke codependent need to exist with another person, where Amberlynn also admitted to never having been intimate with a number of her previous relationships. Kind of makes you wonder how on earth you manage to exist in the same bed with someone that you don't have any intimacy with. and yet you call that person your partner.
She came to me after freaking 3 years of not talking. 4 years of not talking. I get a random message from her one day after her and Crystal broke up. And I'm like, why are you messaging me? Why are you messaging me? Because you were an important part of my life. And I said, at one point, not anymore.
You are a cunt, a big fat stinking cunt. You say it ain't true, but I'll tell you, you're a motherfucking...
So I hope some of you now understand my thought process when I now say that I believe, much like her eating habits, her relationships are in and of themselves quite unhealthy. They are built having never met the person. You meet them and immediately move in with them. When you break up with them, you still proceed to sleep in the same bed as them until you have sufficiently groomed the next person.
Do you still share a bed? Is it hard? We do share a bed. I don't see any reason why Crystal needs to buy a new bed, because if I do and when I do, it's just not healthy. We are both actually talking to people right now. She's talking to a couple people. I'm talking to them that I have from connected, which was unexpected completely. I don't know how it's happened. Of course, it's hard for both of us, especially because Crystal started liking other people way before I started talking to other people, and it's gonna be hard. I'm living with my ex-girlfriend, the woman that I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. So yes, it's gonna be hard, but we have to accept it and adapt to it while I'm currently here, because we're both in our 20s. We need to venture out. We can't be just in this house with each other as friends and not moving on with life. We both know we need to move on, and it's extremely important to do so.
To then move in with that person who you have yet to even meet. I partially dread the day this happens with Becky, because part of me thinks this will in fact happen.
Thank you. Do you really think Becky and Amber will be together forever? No. God, no.
I could just saw from a YouNow stream that is 52 minutes long. The person you saw speaking was Rafe. We will get to her in a moment. During this stream, there are a number of shots taken at Anne Boleyn, to the point where around about 47 minutes, Anne Boleyn Reid appears in the chat of that very YouNow stream. The stream didn't go on much longer because of that, I think. Now, to explain who Rafe is, along with a few other people, we're going to use this image which on Kiwi Farms is called the Kentucky Clusterfuck 3.0, where you have Rafe, who was married to Hannah for 2 years. They were also in a bit of a relationship with Becky. Becky obviously being the current, quotes, girlfriend. Gender's a tricky one. And of course she lives with Becky because that's what she does. She moves in with them immediately. We continue around. We have Dana, who dates Destiny. Dana works with Destiny at the, quotes, government job that Anne Boleyn used to have. Quotes, round job, I guess. Destiny, previous girlfriend, dated Anne Boleyn for 2 years and lived with her in Florida, I believe, at her mother's house. Destiny, much like Becky, a bit of a child, and many assumed, and I thought this as well personally, that both Becky and Destiny were on the spectrum. And I do not mean that as a pejorative, I mean that as a condition that should be diagnosed. The way Anne Boleyn treats people, and the way she is manipulative and abusive. And it is confirmed by all friends who have managed to have an opportunity to speak on YouNow, including Rafe, on this very YouNow stream.
How did Becky and Amberlyn really meet? Yeah, that's seriously, everything that she's told you is really what happened. Becky watched like a video or two, saw all the hate, and was like, damn, I really hope this girl doesn't kill herself, sent her a message, yada yada yada, and it's pretty much from there.
And there are others, and if I can, I'll link relevant clippings from each one. CXNT does a fantastic job timestamping the very best moments.
I'm gonna warn you now. It's gonna be hard to... I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna put it up to the camera. I'm gonna let you guys read it, because if I start reading it, I don't cry. I don't like to cry in front of anybody. So, I'm warning you now, this list is kind of hard to read. It's not very good to read at all, and it makes me very sad that at one point, this is how I viewed myself compared to the person I was dating. Take out my doctor's name. So, here's part of the list.
Continuing around this circle, because I don't want to focus too much on the mental immaturity of previous girlfriends and current girlfriend just yet. We have Ricky and Eric, the current housemates. They are a lovely married couple who make content. That's about it, really. Oh, if you notice here between Ricky and Eric, there's a thumb down. Yeah. Eric lost on her. Good man. That's how you keep your friends, Eric. Getting a glass to someone who's an abuser. Genius. It's a shame, by the way, considering how big Anne Boleyn Reed is, you couldn't fit Crystal, Casey, and the in-between girlfriend, quotes girlfriend, Paige, because she is quite a large girl, and I'm pretty sure you could have fit them around if you tried. So the next part of this relationship saga that I want to touch upon is the breakup of Anne Boleyn Reed and Destiny. There were shades of her breakup with Crystal in this, so I'm not going to touch on the Crystal one too much because I don't have to. The Destiny one is perfect. See, for the longest time, I couldn't find what I needed to explain how this even happened. But, having spent enough time, far too much time, watching videos of Anne Boleyn and Destiny when they were still a couple, a glaring question stood out. Now, while Anne Boleyn claims to edit her videos heavily, far too often I see her being a massive dick to Destiny, using Destiny, to the point where I kind of thought she was a parasite to Destiny. That is not to say for a second, by the way, that Destiny was an angel, because she was a bit of a dick. Simple, but a dick nonetheless. This is not a trait solely exclusive to people who are quite simple. Being a dick is universal. So first of all, we're going to play the clip of Anne Boleyn explaining the breakup, and follow it with a clip that took a while to find, which thankfully one of my lovely patrons found in passing, because it was on Kiwi Farms, but there are far too many pages to go through to find this clip in any other way, where she explains how the breakup actually happened. Granted, she was heavily inebriated, but we get the answer we need.
January 13th, ironically enough, it was actually Friday the 13th, Destiny broke up with me. Since then, I have filmed videos, I've put on fake smiles, I have cried every single time I shut off the camera. I have screamed in my pillows. I have questioned if I am worth anything, why she broke up with me, or what happened. That whole thing is very, like, up to Destiny. But she broke up with me. Some of you were like, well, how come she's still in the vlog? Like, why does it say single if she's still in the vlog? We do still live together. We don't want to lose each other in the sense of, like, being friends and stuff. And we're even still sharing the same bed. I know a lot of you are going to be like, what? It's just not healthy.
Okay. Why did you break up? Because Destiny said she wanted to do her own thing and she wanted to be single. And I'm like, do it, boo. Now she's in a relationship. Okay.
Does anyone remember this clip from the first video I did on Anne Boleyn?
Destiny fucked me up. Like, everything I did for her. Don't get me wrong, she did a lot for me too. Like, she is the best girlfriend I ever had. And I fucked it up.
Yes, it does a fantastic job just showing how when someone is inebriated, how willing they are to share with people. And just to give a bit of context, those two audio clips are only a couple of minutes apart. To summarize this segment, every relationship Anne Boleyn has been in has followed a very basic pattern. She has met them online, she has then proceeded to use and abuse them, to the point where it is known that she has been given credit cards by ex-girlfriends, Destiny most notably, and she has proceeded to continue using them. She has alienated that person from their friends. Not that those people are at all in any way innocent at all, including the girlfriends and now ex-girlfriends. She has proceeded to basically use and abuse them over the course of many years, to get to where she is now with Becky, where I'm starting to wonder when they will break up. I don't, of course, wish anyone to break up, but if I don't believe someone is going to live a happy life with someone, then I don't see why they should continue, and Becky has continued to put on quite a lot of weight since she has started dating Anne Boleyn and helping on these, quotes, weight loss journeys. At this point, someone's got to put their foot down and start looking out for themselves. So now let's move on to the animal abuse, because I want to focus on animal control, as this is astonishing. So to start on the segment of animal abuse or animal care and the subsequent abuse that many have hypothesized, it would be wise to cover a recent turn of events. And I'm going to play a series of clips from a couple of videos that all portray a rather interesting picture, but also leave one massive hole in understanding.
Hey guys, okay, so this is a little story time video for you guys. Yay! I'm not sure what I'm titling this, but if it's some nonsense title, trust me, it's not clickbait, it's true. People think I'm an animal abuser. And it's sad that people can paint a picture of